Okay, so good morning or good evening. I want to talk to the theists, to the believers, to the Christians, to the Muslims na who really cares for people like me na are afraid na baka mapupunta talaga kami sa hell. Kasi iba yung mga paniniwala namin. Please, I invite you to listen to this video kasi it's going to be a very interesting na topic. Na I can't stop you to pray for me, to care for me kasi that's what we do. We care for each other. And I know you have this belief in you na I'm being harmful to myself by creating this channel, by talking about stuff that's critical to your religion. And I hope na maka-empathize ka naman sa shoe namin or sa perspective namin. Not that I want to convince you to become an atheist, but to understand your fellow human being na there's really nothing to worry about. Or if, again, I can't stop you from worrying, but at least man lang, it will gain you some perspective and it will, it can give you some insight and you can think it through and weigh things out and you will then decide. So, story ko muna. Lagi kong sinasabi na I was a conspiracy theorist. So, mahilig akong maghanap ng mga truths. Siguro, it's because of my personality. Parang gusto ko kasi na maging in or ma-acknowledge na may uniqueness ka. In high school, I was good in my academics. I was good in math. So, na-acknowledge ako as a person na magaling sa math. Na-acknowledge din ako as a person na magaling sa computer games. Mostly first-person shooter. But siguro, hindi pa enough sa akin yun. I want to be acknowledged to something else. So, I was kinda edgy in high school. May mga quotes akong inis-spew out na very edgy kasi I want to be seen as someone na not respecting religion or God. I wasn't an atheist back then, but I was really already very rebelde. I remember yung sinabi ko nga dati is, the Lord is my sheep, I am the shepherd. My thought process why I said that one is like, I'm not your slave. I can't be your slave. I don't want to be in this kind of system where I am the sheep and you are the shepherd. You are my sheep. I am the shepherd. And if I analyze that same quote many years later, I still parang, ayoko ngang maging slave, pero I still subscribe to the master and slave mentality. Yun nga lang, ako na yung master, slave ko na yung Diyos, which is still wrong. May mga edgy ako, so I was known to be that kind of guy. But siguro gusto ko pang iba pa yung maging known to me personally. So, and siguro dala na lang din sa curiosity, very curious din kasi akong bata, and palagi akong I always believe in things na turns out to be false. For example, I believed in God, and then na-realize ko later may mga questions pala about God, may mga contradictions pala. It's not as true pala as I thought it was pala. I wasn't an atheist back then. I was just searching. I was just reading things. So it parang nag-doubt ako sa reality ko. So I parang nag-search ako ng mga other truths na hindi mainstream, hindi uso, hindi known. So I was introduced to various personalities. Naging conspiracy theorist ako. At some point naniwala ako na baka hindi binomba talaga yung 9/11 na incident, yung Twin Towers. Hindi talaga siya tinamaan ng eroplano, kundi may parang explosive talaga na plinant mismo sa building, and it's a demolition job na inside job siya ng US para makabigay ng rason ang US to really invade Iraq. Even at some point, I even believed na wala pala talagang eroplanong tumama sa World Trade Center kasi I've seen evidences na CGI lang yung eroplano. It's the connivance between the media and the US government to pull this off in live para ikumbinsi ang tao na inatake na talaga sila. Where in fact, wala palang eroplanong tumama. Wala palang mga jihadist na sumakay sa eroplano at patamaan yung World Trade Center and then yung Pentagon. Ano pa? Illuminati. Naniwala ko sa Illuminati na baka may mga tao talaga na iba yung hangarin sa common na people. They are very parang godlike yung abilities nila, and they exist way before time, kaya ganun sila ka-experts how to handle people in mass. And may mga evidences din na they are na it seems na may mga pawns sila sa music industry, sa Hollywood, even sa mga corporations, andun sila nag-exist. So parang kalamay nila lahat and kontrolado nila lahat tayo. Aliens, I believe that we were visited by aliens and then tinatago lang ng US government. So a lot of beliefs in my head. And okay. So lahat tayo we have beliefs. We all have beliefs in our head. You believe in a God, you believe na Marcos was the great president, Duterte is the currently best president in the solar system right now. Lenny is incompetent. Noy was abnoy. The cat is the best pet, for example, or apple is the yummiest fruit there is. It's the sweetest. So a lot of beliefs. We think that all those beliefs follow evidence, right? We think na lahat ng mga beliefs na hawak natin follows evidence. That's why we are confident with those beliefs. We believe in God. We are confident with that belief because we think it follows evidence. Kaya umarive tayo sa conclusion, and it makes sense na we have that belief. Okay. But in reality, almost all of our beliefs are dumaan sa irrational way. Irrational because it's not evidence-based. It's just parang may prior na belief na tayo, and then confirmation bias na yung nagpa-solidify ng belief na yon. Kaya yung mga hinahawakan nating evidence are evidence that are poor and evidences na that only confirms our biases. So for example, balik ako sa conspiracy theory ko. Sabi ko kanina may mga evidences, and there are. So for example, yung 911, if you go to YouTube and type in the September clues, ang dami niyang in-depth na analyzation doon why the plane is just CGI. Ang dami niyang evidence actually. The shape of hindi daw ganun yung shape pag tumama yung eroplano sa building, parang cartoonish, parang si Roadrunner, si Coyote na tumama daw sa building, shape daw mismo ng eroplano, hindi daw parang circle, which is usually common when it's a plane hitting a building. So cartoonish daw, and then yung graphics is very very CGI daw. Evidence. And if you look for evidence for your belief, you will find evidence talaga that your belief is true if you look hard enough. Whatever that belief is. If you believe God is true, you will find evidence that God is true. If you believe that we haven't landed on the moon, you will find evidence that we haven't landed on the moon. If you look for evidence that aliens existed, aliens visited us in the past and they created the pyramids, helped us in creating the pyramids, you will find evidence. I bet if you look hard enough. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here is that you need to prove yourself wrong. Whatever that belief is, find a way to prove yourself wrong. Kasi in that way, that will, sa ganyang klaseng paraan, that's the only way you will have beliefs that are evidence-based. Okay, balik ako. Why am I talking about evidence why am I talking about evidence-based? So, yung question mo now is this, would probably be like this: hey John, if we can find evidence to support my false beliefs, then what's the value of evidence if it can prove a false belief? That's a good point, and I will probably arrive to that later in this video, but let me give you an example na lang siguro why evidence is important, and paano mo madidistinguish if yung belief mo may meaning yung evidence. Okay, and let me just put a quote when I say evidence, okay? Kasi when I said na merong mga evidences to support false beliefs, I mean evidence. It seems like they are actual evidence, but they are not. Na you will consider it as evidence kasi when it's not, if you strongly believe in that belief. Okay, let me give you an example. When I was a theist, I thought na yung mga atheists are as absurd as the theist. No, doon ako sa part na confused na, not confused, but doon ako sa part na dinidistance ko ng self ko sa believing I'm not an atheist yet, but I no longer consider myself as a religious person or a God believer or something, or a Christian. So I have this belief. Why be an atheist? Just be an agnostic. Atheists are just as absurd as the believers. And my justification is this: you need to have evidence to believe. You also need to have evidence to not believe. That's what my thought process was. Kaya hindi ako atheist dati. So I have that belief in me, and many years akong ganyan, and napuprove din yung mga ganyan ko, mga thinking ko about atheists, kasi may mga nakakausap ako mga atheists na nako-confirm. For example, sabi niya, in-example niya ako na kay Richard Dawkins and yung book niyang The God Delusion, I think. Sinabi daw ni Dawkins, may parang tinest siya sa akin, John, do you believe in Zeus? Do you believe in Athena? Do you believe in blah blah blah? Sabi ko, hindi. So you're an atheist, sabi niya. But it was a parang poor siya na way to teach atheism to me, because lalo lang akong na-confuse. Why would he give examples about mythological beings? Hindi naman sila totoo eh. Hindi naman ganun ka-strong ang evidence nila. That was what I thought. Hindi naman ganun ka-strong evidence nila that they existed. Why give examples why give me a test na alam naman natin lahat na hindi sila totoo? The controversial topic or the controversial question should be, do you believe in God? Like the God, the creator of the universe. And my answer at that point would be, I don't know. I don't believe that there isn't, but I don't know. Kaso iba yung question niya, and sinabihan pa niya akong atheist daw ako kasi for not believing in them. So medyo na-confuse ako. Lalo ako na-confuse. So na-confirm talaga na absurd talaga kayo, mga atheist. Mga absurd kaya talaga kayo na mga tao. And at that same time, I am a conspiracy theorist. Marami na akong mga beliefs. Marami akong mga pwedeng pasikat during a conversation with friends. Kasi I would tell them stories about aliens, about Illuminati, about how fake the moon landing was, about 9/11. So marami akong naikukwento sa kanila. But then, many years passed. A friend of mine, nag-distance siya sa Zeitgeist Movement Philippines. Taga Baguio siya, and he was really smart. He's really smart. drop out siya, but very smart kasi nagbabasa din siya ng mga books eh. Pero sabay kaming pumasok sa conspiracies. But then siya yung isa sa mga unang na-realize na hey, we are in a conspiracy theory bubble. And we are in an echo chamber. This is harmful even though our mission is very good. I think it's still very good until now. Pero the things that we thought are true could not be true pala. So isa siya sa nag-back out. And then isa siya sa parang nagpa-relax sa akin na hey, parang iba na tong pinasukan natin parang mga conspiracy theorist na tayo. And I wasn't aware that I was a conspiracy theorist at that time. I thought I was believing in true things, in controversial things, in things that aren't shown in the mainstream media. And I think I was holding truth. I wasn't a conspiracy theorist. Siya yung nagpagising sa akin. And at that moment, I went to my computer. I searched. I've learned these new two words: debunked and hoax. So, yung ginawa ko is I tried to prove my belief wrong. I tried to prove it wrong. Kasi when you search for zeitgeist, how true zeitgeist is, you will find articles and articles of how true you are, evidence of how factual the conspiracy theory is. But when I tried to search hoax, yun na, may mga forums na akong na-visit that are talking about the details na mali sa conspiracy theory. Especially sa religion na part ng the zeitgeist, ang daming mali pala daw doon. Mga details na mali pala sa history ni Vishnu and Krishna and all those characters na minensyon ni Peter Joseph. Marami palang details doon na mali. So, if you are an atheist and use the video as a way to convince atheists how bad their religion is, so how it's just a copycat of the older religions, magmumukha kang mali sa mga details na nabanggit doon. You will find it hard to defend it. So, avoid or just double check na lang. So, yun. I simply tried to prove myself wrong. And because of that, I wasn't able to find proof that my belief was wrong. Kasi, parang marami kasi, ang daming layers of beliefs na that you would have to go through to really determine how wrong it is. Kasi somehow may mga true stuff pa din sa sa zeitgeist among the other stuff that are false. So hindi ako nag-conclude na it's a false belief. Hindi ako nag-conclude. I just distance myself para kumalma ang utak. Dumistansya kasi I can't immediately turn 180 degrees. 180 degrees ba? I can't immediately think of hindi kasi ganun ako ka-smart. I just distance myself. Distansya ako sa aliens, Illuminati, mga Nostradamus, and all those stuff kasi I realized na I could be wrong and I could be endangering myself and others kasi sinishare ko siya sa family, sa friends. So ito pala yung mga na-mention ko na we have beliefs. There are two kinds of beliefs that we have. One belief that we have can be falsified. The other belief is unfalsifiable. And there are na-mention ko na kasi yung unfalsifiable, how important it is. You can watch my previous video, the video before this one. But there are 4 kinds of unfalsifiable beliefs that we all have. So number 1 is subjective na belief. It's unfalsifiable. We think we have evidence for that for the subjective opinions that we have, but we don't. And there are, but since it's subjective, the evidences for our subjective belief is meaningless, because what we only value is the value. What we only value is the value. At the end of the day, it's the value. The belief has value. For example, balik ako sa cat. Cats are the best pet. It's a fact that they are not. They self-clean. It's a fact, and we have evidence for it. It's a fact now we can leave them in the house for a day or two, and we don't have to worry, kasi just leave them with food and water and they won't trash the house like dogs do. They won't wake you up in the morning para i-walk sila. They can poo in their poo thingy. So they are the best pets. If you are not responsible enough to own a dog, or not a pet but a child, if you're not responsible enough to have a child, so pets, cats. That's my opinion. I have evidence for that opinion, but at the end of the day, since it's just a subjective opinion, evidences are meaningless. Kasi pwede mo namang sabihin na dogs are the best pets. They can watch over the house. You value security over convenience. Yun, that's my point. Na we enter these kinds of debates on a daily basis. Pumupunta tayo sa YouTube, nakikipag-away tayo sa mga nagpo-post and commenter, not really knowing na we are arguing with opinions, which is nothing wrong. We just have to acknowledge na, hey, be ready to agree to disagree. Be ready to have different conclusions on that particular topic, kasi you're just talking about subjective beliefs, and you will have evidences upon evidences to support that belief, but the evidences are meaningless kasi nga a subjective belief siya. So go engage with debates with people with subjective yung foundation ng debate nyo, but know that walang mananalo sa inyo. Magiging ending lang yung debates nyo. So, may note ako dito sa computer ko eh. So, subjective. Number 2 is supernatural beliefs. So, we have natural beliefs na within our own nature, na observe siya within our own reality, but there is a thing called supernatural, meaning it's above our natural observation. It's above time, it's above space. It's in a realm which our senses can't reach. So it's supernatural, and it's unfalsifiable. But here's the thing about supernatural beliefs, why it can also be a falsifiable belief. Kasi, for example, you are a fortune teller. There's a way to falsify it. Ask for a prediction, and then wait for that time to arrive and see whether the prediction is true or not. Supernatural kasi yung power niya. It can't be explained. It's existing in a realm we can't see. It's a power. It's supernatural. But the claim kasi deals with our reality. It affects our reality. It makes predictions within our own reality, within the natural world. Then we can falsify it. There are other supernatural claims that can be falsified. Prayers, for example. God, for example. If that God can meddle with the natural world. If for example, they say na totoong nangyari yung Noah's Ark, the Great Flood sa time ni Noah, 4,000 years ago, we can find geological evidence if nangyari ba talaga yung Great Flood na yun. And it can be falsified kasi may mga ways na tayo to really to see our to observe the natural world, whether a great flood did happen 4,000 years ago. May mga ways na kasi tayo, mga geological ways, I don't know if that's a term, to check whether a great flood did happen. So yun. And then third is vague na beliefs. They are also unfalsifiable. For example, horoscope. Na today, John will go out and meet a new person, and then that person will give him a great idea about stuff and all those stuff. And you're a charming guy and all those positive things. It's vague. It's vague, and it could be interpreted in a positive or a negative light. It's vague kasi. So, it can't be falsified kasi yun na nga, it's interpretation na lang siya eh. Na you can interpret it in a negative light, you can interpret it in a positive, and it's vague because it's not really talking about a specific thing. So mga Nostradamus level na mga predictions din, it's vague. It nafo-fall din siya sa mga vague beliefs. For example, naniniwala ka na totoo si Nostradamus and totoo yung mga predictions niya. You're believing in a vague belief. So, one last thing is yung mga pasok siya sa unfalsifiable na mga beliefs, except that this one is parang this type of belief is it's you wanting your belief to be unfalsifiable. Okay, so it's an excuse to make your beliefs unfalsifiable. So si Carl Sagan sa Demon Hunted World niya, meron siyang dito basahin ko na lang. So, a fire-breathing dragon lives in my garage. Suppose I seriously make such an assertion to you. Surely you'd want to check it out, see for yourself. There have been innumerable stories of dragons over the centuries, but no real evidence. What an opportunity. Show me, you say. I led you to my garage. You look inside and see a ladder, empty paint cans, an old tricycle, but no dragon. Where's the dragon, you ask? Oh, she's right here, I reply, waving vaguely. I neglected to mention that she's an invisible dragon. You propose spreading flour on the floor of the garage to capture the dragon's footprints. Good idea, I say, but this dragon floats in the air. Then you use an infrared sensor to detect the invisible fire. Good idea, but the invisible fire is also heatless. You'll spray paint the dragon and make her invisible. Good idea, but she's an incorporeal dragon and the paint won't stick. And so on. I counter every physical test you propose with a special explanation of why it won't work. So, anong difference nun ng invisible, incorporeal, floating dragon who spits heatless fire and no dragon at all? Diba? Walang pinagkaiba. Invisible, incorporeal, floating, who spits heatless fire, dragon. And what's the difference with that kind of dragon and no dragon at all? So if there's no way to disprove my arguments, no conceivable experiments that would count against it, what does it mean to say that my dragon exists? Your inability to invalidate my hypothesis is not at all the same thing as proving it true. Claims that cannot be tested, assertions immune to disproof, are vertically worthless. So yun yung sabi ni Carl Sagan. Make sure that your belief is falsifiable para ma-prove mo siya na mali siya. Wala kasing way to disprove you. So kaya ang ending ko dun sa mga conspiracy ko, I distance myself because there's no way for me to disprove them. There could be details disproving the facts that they claim, pero not the whole conspiracy itself. So at the end of the day, it's just a non-falsifiable na conspiracy. So I distance myself kasi I don't want to indulge myself in the in the in that space kasi kahit saan ako mapupunta, and I will believe in things na mga bullshit na talaga. So dumistansya ako kasi I'm prone to believing in things. So first step is to make sure that your belief is falsifiable para ma-prove mo siya na wrong. Kasi if it's falsifiable, you can prove it wrong. Kaya yun yung ginawa ko. I tried to prove it wrong. I realized na some of the things I see here are wrong, are false, but some of the things are unfalsifiable. So I'm going to distance myself. For example, so mga theist, kasi inimbita ko yung mga theist dito eh. So, you coming in here and inviting me to your God and feeling sorry for me, I've already did my part. When I labeled myself an atheist, I already tried to disprove the things I believed about atheism. So sabi ko nga, atheism is absurd. I tried to disprove it. Is atheism really absurd? Naniniwala ba talaga yung mga atheist na walang Diyos? Na-disprove ko yun. Hindi pala ganun. Ang mga atheist ba ay mga edgy and mga tawag dito, kontra lang talaga sa religion? Hindi pala. Na-disprove ko yung belief na yun. Ano pa? Worldview ba ang atheism? Hindi pala. Religion ba ang atheism? Hindi pala. So, what I'm standing now, you thought I'm shaky. You thought you're thinking that my foundation is just a thin ice and I will fall anytime. You're wrong kasi inisip ko na to ng matagal. And I'm comfortable here. And I'm happy here. And I've tried to disprove this own stance many times. And nagstand talaga siya. And I don't think na I would distance from it anytime soon. Kasi very solid na siya. Unlike the conspiracy before, when I just tried to search in Google, dumistansya na ako eh. But now, when you try to say something that's negative towards atheism, hindi ako nasa-shatter, hindi nasa-shake yung foundation ko kasi na-search ko na yan dati. Yung mga ikinatatakot mo about us, sinearch ko na yan. Lahat ng negative na mga things that you can think of right now, what atheism is, sinearch ko na yan and I was proven wrong. Mali pala yung mga paniniwala ko about them. Same thing with your political stance. I know you're very confident with your politics right now. You're confident about the Italiano Gold, that Marcos was the best president, that Ninoy Aquino was an NPA. Prove yourself wrong. Don't look for evidence that Ninoy really was an NPA or President Marcos really was the best president. Try to look for evidence that will counter that. Weigh things out and see what will happen. Notice, maghanap ka ng mga claims na, hey, it's only dealing with opinions. It can't be falsified. Distance yourself from it. Uy, ito, na mafo-falsify to. Yan, hanapin mo yan. And also, there are kinds of beliefs that are very loaded. For example, ito, Dilawans and the NPAs at sila ang nagpabagsak ng Pilipinas. It's a very loaded statement. What is Dilawan? Ano ba yung why NPA? Ano ba yung NPA? Nagpabagsak, what does it mean to nagpabagsak ng Pilipinas? It's a loaded statement and it arouses emotion instead of facts and instead of evidence. Yung emotion mo ang natitrigger and it will force you to believe in whatever side. So prove yourself wrong. You as a theist, as a Christian, Have you tried to search for the things that are critical to your religion? For example, the details. For example, yung claim na 4,000 years ago na may flood. And what's the take of the geologist geologist sa take na yan? Anong take nila dyan? How old the earth is, why they say that the universe is roughly billions of years old. What is evolution? Totoo ba talagang yan? Galing ba tayo sa unggoy? Who wrote the Bible? Si Matthew, Mark, Luke, John ba talaga ang mga original authors, or were they just names of authors that are actually unknown? Ano yung original na manuscript? Saan na sila ngayon? Am I really believing because I'm following evidence? Or I'm just believing because that's what my mother passed down to me, or that's what I feel about my surroundings right now? I've been tested by God. Pinatay yung yung aso ko, kaya tinest ako ni God, and I'm really thankful na tinest ako ni God. Is it really a test? Do people experience that and have different conclusions? Like me, my family members die all the time. I mean, that's the reality. Do I kino-convert ko ba yan as a lesson from God, or is that just a fact of our reality na people die and we all die? Do we go somewhere? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Or do we just rot and be the pataba ng mga halaman? And I was supposed to say a joke about mention ko sana yung the circle of life na mention sa Lion King. At first, yeah, it makes sense, right? Circle of life na you, a lion, you eat the antelope, but when the lions die, it will rot, and then the worms will eat the lions. I mean, convenient for you if you're the lion, right? You're just too bad for the antelope kasi ihahunt sila ng lion. Convenient for the lion to be only eaten when they die, but the antelopes will be eaten while they're still alive. So it's not really a circle thing. It's like a pyramid. There's someone on top and it will devour what's on the bottom. So as much as possible, we want to be fair. Humans, I really may good naman talaga sa humanity. We invent, we create we create fiction, kaya nga may pera tayo. Money is just our own invention. Law is just our own invention. It's not based on a God. It's not based on someone telling us what laws should be passed. It's from Congress. It's from the Senate. It's from the signature of the president. We have laws because we have beliefs, and those beliefs could be falsifiable and unfalsifiable, and there's nothing wrong if you are unscientific. Yeah, there's nothing wrong if your belief is unscientific. I'm just talking in a sense na I'm just talking about this because there are people who will really say na their beliefs are backed by science. So it's wrong. Don't pretend that it's backed by science. Just accept that some beliefs are falsifiable, some beliefs are unfalsifiable, some beliefs are subjective, and that's okay. It's okay that we have opposing views. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of our reality. We can always disagree. We can always disagree. But here's the beautiful part. That's the reason why we need to talk, para makahanap tayo ng middle ground. Saan ba yung space na fair sa ating dalawa that have opposing views? Okay? So, ginagawa kasi ng karamihan ng mga theists is unfair. You are like a totalitarian kasi. You feel sorry for us. Napupunta kami sa hell. you feel bad about us. That's a totalitarian view. You think everyone thinks like you are. We don't think like you are. We are not sorry for you. We are happy for you. We are glad that you have a belief and you're free to express those beliefs. I'm happy that we live in this world na opposing yung views natin, and then nagsasama tayo, nagtutulungan tayo. Don't be the person na totalitarian na as if everyone agrees with your beliefs. No, not everyone agrees with your beliefs. You need to put that in your head para kung makaharap ka ng iba't ibang klaseng tao, hindi ka na totalitarian yung pananaw mo. When you meet a Muslim, you feel sorry for them ba? Kasi Muslim sila. I doubt. I think you feel fear kasi iba yung mga misconceptions mo about the Muslim people, that you think they're terrorists, you think they bomb. That's the joke around Muslims. And there's also a joke around Christian Catholics, particularly the priests, na mga rapists kayo, and we don't want to have that kind of na mga stereotypes. It's fun to have a joke kasi we acknowledge that it's not true, but it's somehow true. But yeah, do not be like a totalitarian mindset na I feel sorry for you, John. You have this channel. I'm sure you will go to hell. I'm sure you are lost. No, I don't feel that. I don't feel the same way sa'yo. You're not lost. You just have a belief that is unfalsifiable, and there's nothing wrong if it's unfalsifiable kasi it's a belief. It's our nature to have beliefs, and that's okay. Go ahead and believe in your God. Just let us be. Just let us not believe kasi we have different values. We have different perspective. We value evidence way more than beliefs that can't be falsified as much as possible. So this is a fucking long video. Shit. If you've arrived at this point, please siguro nagustuhan mo yung video na to. So please click the like button. Share this to your family and friends. It's just a conversation, nothing really fancy with the video, walang mga transition, mga animation, ganun. I just want to talk. And if you have something negative to say, just drop them in the comments. I can be nasty in the comment section, especially when you put words into my mouth, especially when you don't understand simple explanations. Very simple na nga to eh. Wala na tong mga technical na mga tawag doon, law of thermodynamics, the nature law of mga ganun mga topics. I try to distance myself from that kasi we're simple people. We are not politicians that handle scenarios that can harm or can save people. We're just simple individuals and we handle simple problems. We have jobs. So parang ganun. Parang I'm talking about things. Parang I'm saying na just deal with stuff that matters to you. If it doesn't, just let these experts handle them. We have experts naman eh. So don't pretend to be an expert, okay, if you're not. I'm not an expert.